Look at him just standing there. My own ghoul, plotting against me. You won't get me today, little ghoul. Not today. Hi guys, this is X. So here's the deal. Today was supposed to be the day that I sat down and started working on my freelance writing business. But when I sat down and began to work on it, I suddenly remembered something important. I've had writer's block for the past 2 years. So, rather than try and overcome my own personal little hurdle, I decided to do the one responsible thing. Procrastinate. The good news is, you guys benefit. Welcome to my Scarlet Monastery Cathedral farming video. I'm going to be showing you how you can clear this place in under 3 minutes and in one pull, and although the gold that you make in here is modest, I still strongly recommend mastering this instance because it has a ton of other applications. And as you can see here, I'm starting with no coin in my bag, 0 gold, 0 silver, 0 copper, as I usually do before I farm an instance. And now we're just going to go ahead and run on in. Now I'll just go ahead and start the timer up in the top right, and then my ghoul and I are going to clear out this first hallway. As you're probably accustomed to seeing me do by now in my other videos, I'm going to take the right half of this hallway and my ghoul's going to take the left half. You don't really have to do that here, it's just habit for me and it just comes naturally. I hope at some point you can get there as well because it is a really fun way to play. So anyway, just take out these guys like normal, death and decay, diseases, and corpse explosion. And now your goal is to get to the end of this instance, to the boss fight, without aggroing any mobs. Take the water routes when you can, and make sure that you're always in unholy presence. You're going to see here I'm going to jump into the fountain, and it's just going to make it very easy for me to get to the door. Now, before I get to the boss fight, I do feel it's important that you note that I have taken up the desecration talent. I always have it in my secondary talent these days because it just is so useful for farming, not just Scarlet Monastery, but other places. It's not necessary to farm this place, but it is very useful, and I'll show you exactly why in just a moment. So, here we go. Here's Commander Mograine. Here's the first thing that we do. We're going to pull him over to the left or the right pillar, either way, your choice, with Death Grip, and then we're just going to beat him down here. There he goes, he falls. And then I pan my camera to the left so that I can see Whitemane running in, and it makes her easier to target. So we're just going to beat her down, and then she casts a sleep spell on you that you can't resist. It's just part of the scripted fight. So she resurrects Mograine, and now it's time to run. I'm going to slow this down here. Now watch carefully for the green swipe. And there it is. That's me using Plague Strike on a random mob as I start to run away. By having the Desecration talent, it makes my Plague Strike drop down a radius around me that slows mobs down by 50%. And this gives me the extra time that I need to run away so that I don't take extra damage while I'm running. Now it's just time to let my Desecration go to work and get some distance on them. You'll notice that while I was put to sleep, the mobs were able to hit me without me being able to dodge. So they dealt a ton of damage, and I'm using Death Pact on my ghoul. That takes him down, and it pretty much brings me back to full health. Your next step is to cut through the fountain and use Anti-Magic Shell. But the weird thing is, as you can see here, the Frostbolt still hits me, and it still applies the slowing debuff. This is exactly what I was trying to avoid with Anti-Magic Shell, and I promise you it usually works just fine. I guess it was just lag in this particular instance that caused it not to work. But anyway, once you jump down from the fountain, you're safe, because all the mobs have to path around the stairs to get to you. And you'll notice your ghoul timer, right there on my screen, is almost ready. So you're going to pull around back into this hallway, and that's going to create line of sight, and all of the mobs are going to rush to you. Resummon your ghoul, and if you'll notice over on the right side of my screen here, I have a macro right there. And that targets Commander Mograine, because he's got the highest HP. I put Frost Fever on him, and then I immediately cast Pestilence. That way it spreads Frost Fever to all the mobs. Then Death and Decay goes down, and then I immediately detonate my ghoul. And that finishes off all the mobs. And this gives you a nice clean ring of corpses that you're going to be looting up. Now I haven't quite stopped the timer yet, because there are a couple mobs left to kill, and even after these guys are down, there's usually 3 or 4 mobs left somewhere in the instance that wander in on their own after you're already done. There's one, a couple of them, so I just go ahead and take her out, and then another mob comes wandering in. But I went ahead and stopped the timer at 2 minutes and 58 seconds because the instance is effectively done at this point. Also, I did forget to mention earlier that I am using a very, very low quality weapon in here. It's a gray quality sword. It looks very nice, actually. I really do think it's one of the best looking swords in the game, just because it looks like a real sword. But yeah, it's like 9.1 DPS. I think it's called a standard claymore. You can actually loot one of those in here, and that's the weapon that I choose to use, because if you use a bigger weapon than this, you're going to kill Mograine with your white damage, and you won't be able to spread your diseases, which is actually pretty important to killing these mobs. So I'm going to speed up the looting sequence here, and we're just going to get back to town as well. One thing that I should also have noticed is that you need to switch to blood presence as soon as you turn the corner to come into this hallway. That way you do that extra 15% damage, because you're not going to be running around after you're pulling the mobs in here, so you might as well switch to blood presence so that you can finish the mobs off more quickly. Now, normally you wouldn't want to return to town until you've done 4 or 5 of those runs. It only takes about 30 minutes to get yourself locked out of the instance because you're clearing them so quickly. But just for the sake of tallying up our gold, with one run, I'm going to come back after one run. And you can see what I've looted there in my bags. And I use Sell-O-Matic to sell all the gray items automatically, which leaves me with just the stuff that I'm worried about. And anything that's left over, I go ahead and manually vendor if I'm not going to be auctioning it. As far as the blue items are concerned, I'm a little bit torn between whether or not I should disenchant them or whether I should just vendor them. Right now, I'm vendoring them because on my realm, the shards are selling for about as much as the blues are, but you should check your realm to see, if you can disenchant that is, you should check your realm to see how much the shards are selling for, and if it becomes more profitable to shard the items first, then I'd definitely go ahead and recommend doing that. So anyway, we're done selling and organizing, and now it's time to go hit up the auction house. So that's exactly what I'm going to do, and let's see how much I made. After repairs, I wound up with 7 gold and 25 silver just in my bag, and on the auction house I made 44 silver from selling 2 wool cloth, 6 gold, 84 silver from selling 83 silk cloth, 9 gold, 16 silver from selling a large knapsack, 11 gold and 73 silver from selling 13 mageweave cloth, and 21 gold from selling the 7 random green items, which I sell for 3 gold a piece on the auction house. There's always a demand for them because enchanters will buy them up while they're leveling up their enchanting. Total, it comes out to be 56 gold and 42 silver in technically 3 minutes, and that would appear at first glance to be 18.8 gold per minute, but you spend about 3.5 minutes looting, so the total time you spend in there is about 6.5 minutes. So when you do the real calculation, that's 56 gold and 42 silver in 6.5 minutes, and that comes out to be 8.68 gold per minute. Now, that's about 1 gold less per minute than you would make doing something like ramparts. But the real value in Scarlet Monastery doesn't come necessarily from the gold. It comes in its versatility. If you are an enchanter, for example, you can level up your enchanting fairly quickly through the lower levels by farming this place for yourself and just disenchanting the greens. You save a lot of gold that way while you're leveling your enchanting. Secondly, it's a great place to come power level your friends, especially if they have the Refer a Friend account. I have gained people 4 to 8 levels before in 30 minutes. When they had the Refer a Friend account, and even when they didn't, I've gained people 2 levels before in 30 minutes when they just had rested experience. So it's a great place to come power level, and that leads to an even greater potential for gold. I don't do this myself, but you can charge for these runs. I've had people offer me 400 gold before to run them through this 5 times in 30 minutes because it's just such an efficient way for them to make experience. So if you wanted to, you could just skip the looting altogether, and really you could clear this place 5 times in less than 20 minutes and charge someone 400 gold. So I mean, that's an incredible amount of profit. Well guys, I'm running out of time, so whether you loved it or hated it, please rate and comment, and if you really liked it, please subscribe. I do have some ideas for my next video already, so until next time guys, Thanks for watching. Go out and have fun. Enjoy.